Hello and welcome back to the channel. So today I wanted to make a video on Ash. Now Ash, before I even go into the build, if you want to know where to get him, normal Ash is through some Railjack missions, so I would just recommend getting Ash Prime if you want to. You get him through the regular means of relics. So Ash Prime, I would say, is the frame that, if I was to take one of my frames to level cap, it would be this one. Because he has the most utility of all the frames, in my opinion, that I have. So for Ash, his passive, your slash status effects inflicted on enemies do 25% more damage and last 50% longer. Your first ability, Seeking Shuriken, Seeking Shuriken's just the augment that I'm using. You just kind of throw a shuriken. That's as simple as it gets. But with our augment, it does set a full armor strip on the enemies. I was gonna say 70%, but with our ability strength, it does a full armor strip. Your 2, you throw a smoke cloud or a smoke bomb and you turn invisible. That's about it. You turn invisible. For 3, I subsumed Roar. You don't have to. You could subsume Zada's Whisper or Eclipse or Roar. Whichever, or none. You don't have to have a subsume on Ash at all. But Roar I really like as just a damage buff, and I don't have Zada's Whisper yet because I have not gotten normal Zaku. And then your 4 is Blade Storm. You mark your targets while looking at them or aiming at them, and it'll put a little marker, and then when you activate it, you'll shadow clone yourself, and it'll basically either do damage or insta-kill them, one of the two. So for our build, for our Aura mod, we have Brief Respite for some shielding when we use our abilities, which is pretty often because your Smoke Cloud has a 17-second cooldown, and this one you want to spam just to armor strip literally everything that exists. We have Power Drift in our Exilis slot. If you have it, you could also throw in something like Mobilize for more mobility, which, let me show you Mobilize here. It just gives you parkour velocity. Or you could put on Prime Surefooted, but I don't have it yet. And then we have Primed Continuity for more duration to make our Smoke and Roar last longer. Transient Fortitude for more strength. Equilibrium for more energy. Rolling Guard for a quick little, like, uh-oh kind of thing. Flow for energy, Narrow-Minded for more ability duration for our Smoke and Roar, and then Umbral Intensify. If you don't have Umbral Intensify, just use regular. Primed Continuity, same thing, just use normal. And then if you don't have Equilibrium, you could use something like Energy Nexus, I believe would be pretty solid. Yeah, you could use Energy Nexus if you want to instead of Equilibrium. This will just give you flat +3 per second. But I like the orbs a lot, and with Ash you can get finishers pretty easily with stealth and stuff. And then for weapons, really anything you like. I'm just using my Anku Incarnate and Fenmore, which I've done videos on prior, and then Latum, which is just kind of, I don't really use it, but it's here in case I need it or something. But that's our build for Ash. Now I'll come out here and I'll show you what the abilities do. So, Seeking Shuriken, you throw it, and it armor strips. And it hits multiple enemies, I believe. It should hit 2. Yeah, you can see there it hit 2 enemies. We'll jump up here. There we go. But yeah, that's just your armor stripping ability. And then your 3, you go invisible, and you have 17 seconds where you're just invisible. That's about it. And then for your 3, we have Roar. This one is just straight up damage increase. You can see we did 10k, 43,000 on one of the procs, 64k. And then paired with this Incarnate is just super nice because you get Roar, which is the damage buff, and you just kind of go in. And then our 4th ability here, which I don't really use this too much, but we'll go ahead and mark all of these guys that we can. There we go. And then when you activate it, a clone will go out and attack all of these guys, and looks like because these are Steel Path enemies, they'll do a little bit of damage. I didn't know that it kept chaining like that, but there you go. It does slash procs and does a little bit of damage, which if you're anything lower than Steel Path, this will insta-kill pretty much any enemy that you see. And then we'll come back here. I'll unproc Roar so I can show the weapon damage before and after. So, before, we've got... Let me turn this off actually as well. 41,000, 7,000, 8,000 on some of our procs. And then with Roar, pretty solid overall. Like I said though, if you don't want to use Roar, you could also just use Eclipse, or you could use Zada's Whisper. Zada's Whisper is what I want on this build, ideally. So if you do have it, I would put Zada's Whisper on, but I don't want to go farm regular Zaku. Especially now that I've tried Prime, which I believe that video went up yesterday for Zaku Prime. I just don't like Zaku that much. It's not my playstyle personally. But we'll jump into Steel Path Exterminate, and I can show you what Ash can do with this build. And like I said, weapons-wise, you can use literally anything you want to. I'm using Fenmore. You could use Burst On. I've made a video on that as well, which is... I prefer Burst On more, to be honest. I just think Fenmore is a little stronger for stuff that I'm doing. Let's go ahead and activate Zeneric here to get some more energy. And then, like I said, you could also pair this with Energy Nexus instead of Equilibrium, which honestly might be better than Equilibrium in some cases. For, like, playing solo like I am right now, or just times you're not going to expect a lot of orbs, no Protea around or anything like that. But yeah, so we'll run out here, and you can see this guy here. Armor strip him. Get rid of these guys. Go invisible here. Jump through, armor strip those guys. I missed. Here we go. Activate Roar. And now that everything's active, you just kind of run around doing your usual thing. Also, someone in the comments did mention when I asked about it, the crit spots on these robots are the glowing tanks on their arms. And there goes our energy, so we'll pop this again. But with this build, you really want to stay invisible permanently. Like, as long as you can possibly stay invisible. Because with this build, the invisibility is your survivability. So if you're not invisible, you have a high chance of exploding, because you can see we only have 1,000 HP total. Or 1,100 total HP. But this is my Ash Prime build. It's pretty simple. All his abilities are also pretty simple. You just turn invisible. If you need it, you rolling guard. If you don't use it really. It's just kind of like a panic button almost. And then you just keep Roar active at all times. And then in the instance where you need the armor strip, you just throw out the shurikens and you armor strip. But this is, if any of my builds could, probably be the one that I would say can go to level cap. But I'm going to keep this one a little bit shorter compared to some other build videos, because this one's pretty self-explanatory on what his abilities do and stuff. But yeah, this build's really fun for going high round Void Cascade and stuff like that, because you can just kind of run the game with this build. But that's about enough. That's about all I need to say for this one, to be honest. It's pretty simple. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one.